Folks, this is Dr. Eric Fields, a psychologist specializing in gambling addiction. Today, I'm talking about a specific way or strategy to deal with your losses. This is a critical issue for anyone that has been compulsively gambling for a long period of time. The longer the period of time you've been gambling, the probability is much higher that you have some substantial losses. Now, on a general level, I have always promoted this idea that the best way to deal with this past gambling behavior that you're so regretful of is using it as a catalyst for personal growth so that it's not for naught, right? In other words, if you can attain some kind of personal fulfillment or level of personal progress that you can attribute to this experience that you had being addicted to gambling, while it doesn't eradicate the losses, it certainly gives more meaning to them, right? And this is a real positive way of handling the gambling losses. Imagine living your life in a much better, richer way than you were even prior to your compulsive gambling. And again, being able to say that I learned from this experience, and this was actually a catalyst for me living my life in a much better, more meaningful way. Today, I want to talk about a offshoot of that kind of idea that deals with the financial losses specifically and really trying to accept those losses. A lot of people who compulsively gamble continue to do so because they just feel like, what's the point now? I've already lost so much money. I feel so badly about the money that I've lost, and I still am trying to have some kind of hope that one day I'll make the money back, I'll recoup my losses, and then I can walk away. Now, I can tell you from my experience, it's very rare that people are able to do that, because not only are they battling with having lost so much money, but also having lost so much time and feeling like this gambling activity or the sports book people or whoever owes them, right? But that's really a topic for another day. What I want to talk about today is the way to frame these losses into a positive action plan that can put you in a much better financial position than you would have been in if you had never gambled at all. So, kind of coming from the same idea of using the gambling losses as a catalyst for personal change, we're kind of extending that to more specifically using it as a catalyst for real positive change and growth financially. Lots of compulsive gamblers have told me that they have always been bad with money. And that's a vulnerability. It's certainly not inherent in every compulsive gambler. I would never make the blanket statement that any compulsive gambler has a history of being bad with money. No. Of course, they may not be very good with money now during their compulsive gambling phase, but it certainly doesn't mean that you're not good at managing money in general. Okay, but a lot of compulsive gamblers have had this issue long before they ever started to gamble. And if that's you, or even if that's not you, this strategy can still work, because as a result of this experience, what you can learn from it is how to be so much more investment savvy, financially savvy than you ever were before and probably ever would have been. Why? Because this gambling issue has given you a reason to grow and learn from this experience. This gambling behavior has motivated you, or can motivate you, to be a far better version of yourself when it comes to money. So, what I really am encouraging you to do here is to start thinking of a plan to first and foremost get rid of the debt, and then to eventually put yourself in a stellar financial situation. What you can do now to feel like you have control over your life and your future, to not feel like you're doomed, is to start doing research, meet with a financial analyst, talk with friends and family members who you really respect in terms of their financial knowledge and acuity. Do your research online and start coming up with a financial plan and strategy that not only will resolve the debt as quickly as possible, but then afterwards will really morph into a solid financial plan where you can start accruing some real wealth and financial prosperity. And if you're able to do this, then you will not regret and feel as badly about these past losses. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if these past losses lead to you being more financially secure and wealthy in the future because they've motivated you in such a way that couldn't have happened unless you had experienced this real negative episode in your life, then you're not going to look upon them as being so negative. And this is really, really a crucial point to consider. Now, when you're developing this financial plan, the three essential components it should have, which are based off of types of goals, are short-term goals, medium-range goals, and long-term goals. And I would advocate that the plan should actually also incorporate two phases. One phase being the payoff phase, getting you out of debt, and then the second phase being really geared towards putting you in as good of a financial situation as you could ever expect. Okay? And the importance of breaking up into two phases is that there may be different strategies, financial strategies, that you use in either phase, right? So once you get out of debt, you may have a lot more flexibility, and there may be a lot more kinds of strategies or paths you can take to now really work on gaining that financial security. Regardless, each phase should have these three types of goals. A short-term goal, which is maybe weekly, so that every week you're seeing that debt go down if we're talking about phase one, okay? And then a medium range goal, which could be monthly goals or quarterly goals, where you're now seeing even more so this debt getting taken care of in bigger and bigger chunks. And then, of course, the long-term goal could be either a yearly goal, if it's going to take you several years to get out of debt, or the long-term goal could simply be when you're finally debt-free. Okay? The importance of having the three types of goals, let me explain it to you in the way that if you didn't have these goals, why that would not be good, right? Or if you only had one type of goal. If you only have the long-term goal, which is getting out of debt, you're not going to have really good direction, and it's going to be hard to stay motivated because it's so far away, okay? If you only have the short-term goals, then the problem is it's like being a ship out at sea, okay? And you're going in a direction, but you're not really sure where you're going or how long it's going to take you. And while short-term goals are excellent to keep you motivated, it's going to be hard to sustain that motivation if you don't see the end goal, right? If you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the medium range goals kind of are for both reasons, right? It's like that intermediary goal that keeps you focused and motivated, but on a different level, right? So like each week, it feels good to see that debt slowly go down, and that keeps you going. And then you get to that medium range goal after, let's say, 3 months, and you're like, wow, that's a big chunk now. You know, I'm a quarter of the way there already, or a third of the way there, or what have you, right? And then, of course, the long-term goal being the ultimate goal to really, keep your eye on the prize, so to speak. This is Dr. Fields. I'll have more to say about this at another time. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like it. Please follow me. It motivates me to keep going. And as always, I wish you all the best success with overcoming this gambling addiction.